It is day 12 of 40 Days in God's Presence by Rebecca Barlow Jordan. I am thoroughly enjoying this. Preparing to share this with you has been really a joy for me. And this week is the God who knows all. So I'd like to say if you've been following along and you're enjoying these, please go ahead and share it with somebody that you think would enjoy it as well. That would be a huge blessing. And so thank you. And, like it and comment would be great because I really want this to be a community where we share with one another because the author doesn't have it all and I don't have it all, that's for sure. But God speaks to each of us and reveals different things to each of us, and it's personal, and that's how God is. He is a personal God. And this is the God who knows all. And a word for that is omniscient. That's one of our Bible college words. Omniscient means it is all knowing, and God knows everything. So from Psalm 139, I'm just going to read the first couple of verses, and I think it's familiar to a lot of people. O Lord, you have searched me and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You are familiar with all my ways. And that can be a comfort or that can be uncomfortable. So, which is it for you? I mean, there have been times in my life when I know that I was thinking the wrong things, doing the wrong things, and it was uncomfortable knowing that God knew all. But then there were other times when I wanted to open up my heart to God, that it was a comfort that He knew all. And sometimes, especially when we feel hurt by others or misunderstood, ooh, that's a tough one. For me, that's a tough one, being misunderstood. But I had to get comfortable with the fact that I can't control what other people think, but I am comforted to know that God knows my heart better than I do. And so sometimes even David will say this. He said, "Search my heart, O Lord, see if there be any wicked way or in me." And God does that for our good and for His glory. He doesn't do that to punish and point out and shame. And I mentioned this in another video to call us out on the carpet. He does it to call us up closer to Him, and He does it to call us out of the enemy's camp and into freedom. So that is really awesome. David, I wrote just on a few things that David mentions, that God is his protector, his fortress, his refuge, his strength, his salvation, his song, the Lord Most High, Mighty One, my shepherd. So if you've read Psalm 23, and I found it very kind of sad that for some people, Psalm 23 is only put into the context of funerals. And although it is such a comforting psalm at a funeral for someone who has known the Lord as their shepherd, and for families to feel the comfort of the shepherd though they walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will say Psalm 23 is so much more. Please dig in there. And I did do a video on Psalm 23. I think I only got through the first half. And so I do need to do a complete Psalm 23 video. It is one of my favorite. I've been for a year just going back to it and going back to it and going back to it and personalizing it and praying it and singing it. And there's so many good songs on Psalm 23. So I hope that if you are not familiar with it in a daily sense, in a personal sense, please go back to read that. And David knew him as a shepherd. David was a shepherd. And so for him to be able to attribute to God the care of a shepherd to his own personal heart is just beautiful. And so some of the things I wanted to point out of this, one of the verses says that it's too lofty for me. Thinking about how God knows my thoughts is too lofty for me. I think that's a King James word. But basically in today's day and age, it would be like, you blow my mind, God. You absolutely blow my mind. It is mind-blowing how awesome and bigger than we can ever imagine that God is. And although He is the God of the universe, He still cares about each and every one of us. He knows the numbers of hairs on our head, and He knows our thoughts, and He formed us. I mean, all of this scripture I would really encourage you to, I'm not going to take time to read the whole chapter, but I would encourage you to go and read it and talk to the Lord as you read it and let it just sink in about how personal He is and how He formed you and how He wrote in His book all the days of your life. God knows. God knows, and He's good. One of the things that I read in here is David's overall personal invitation to God opened the doors to the inner room of David's heart. No one cracks the door of intimacy without desiring a personal relationship with another. You, who know my thoughts so well, he said, God, search me. You who know my heart, come and really know my heart and show me anything that is offensive to you. Lead me in the way everlasting. And God did that. So when David had that whole Bathsheba incident, I mean, he murdered, he set someone's death up. You know, he didn't just murder in a rage of emotion. He plotted to murder Bathsheba's husband. And he took her, most people would say, not by her own will, not consensual. And he sinned. I mean, straight up sinned. And so Nathan, the prophet, came to him telling a story about a man who had 1,000 sheep, a whole bunch of sheep. And then his neighbor had one little beautiful sheep. And the man who had the 1,000 sheep went and took the one sheep that belonged to the other man. And he's like, you should kill that man. And he's like, you are that man. Ooh. That just makes my back, rise, because that had to be hard for David to hear. And what did he do? He repented immediately. He repented for what he did. And so he was thankful to God for this accountability. He said, search me and you know me and you search me and show me if there's anything wrong. And so it's obvious that he meant it by the way that he repented when Nathan approached him. So let me ask, is being found out or being found by God comforting to you or uncomfortable to you? So being found of Him when we want Him to find us brings joy, intimacy, fellowship. But being found out when we're doing something wrong brings shame, fear, and hide. And if you're not sure if you deal with shame, and I thought when I first heard about shame, I was like, oh, that's not a problem. I have other problems, but I don't have that problem. And then I realized if there's anything that you're wanting to hide, then shame is probably in there, weaved in there somewhere. And so why do we try to hide from God? We do try to hide from others, for certain. And I think in doing that, we think, well, we're hiding that from God, but He knows us better than we do. And a couple of things that are written and a few scriptures that are referenced in this chapter are Isaiah 45:3, that God shows His secret places. He shows hidden treasures to those who are close to Him and love Him and fear Him. And Psalm 25:14 says, the Lord confides in those who fear, reverence, and awe Him. He makes His covenant known to them. And Psalm 139 verse 14 really does reflect about identity, and I don't think I even wrote it down, so I'm going to put it in the chapter. But about us being formed, He formed us, and He knows us, and it says that we were fearfully and wonderfully made. So wonderful, my heart knows so well. My soul knows how wonderful. Look up verse 14 and read that in whatever version you read it in. But what that reminded me of is how often we can say, oh, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, and we can believe it and assent to it in our mind. But does our soul bear witness that we are fearfully and wonderfully made? So wonderful, like God wonderfully knit us together. And to be able to have that confidence deep in your soul, in your heart, and you know for sure that you can recognize, you can look in a mirror and you can recognize, no matter what you look like, that you are knit together by an awesome God and He loves you. Let's go to the end of this chapter. It says here, He is the God who knows and enjoys us so much that He is waiting for us to do the same. to know and enjoy his presence. David understood that by inviting God to turn on the searchlight on his heart. And David invited God into every room of his heart. I heard a teaching on that early on when I was a teenager, and it impacted me so much. Is there a closet that we keep locked that we don't want the Lord in? Or have we given him an open access to every area of our heart? And he doesn't come, again, to shame us, to beat us down, or to belittle us. He comes to set us free. He comes to remove that so we can have a deeper and greater understanding of him, his love, and fellowship with him. So personal truth is, in an intimate relationship with the God who knows all, even painful discoveries turn into intense joy. And by painful discoveries, I believe she's talking about God opening a door somewhere that we really don't want to face ourselves. But by doing that, by going through the painful, deep work, there's joy on the other side. There's joy on the other side of cleaning out that closet full of clutter. I'm speaking to myself. All right, personal prayer. God, you know me so well, but there is so much I still want to know about you. Thank you for thinking of me constantly. Search every part of my heart and never stop teaching me. I will search for you with all my heart, soul, and mind, that I might really know and enjoy you intimately. And the question we're ending with, does God have access to all the rooms of your heart? Again, this channel is about progress over perfection, and take it one room at a time. God doesn't come in with a bulldozer and knock everything out at once. He goes step by step with us, and he is so good that way. So perfectionism is overrated, but progress is where it's at.